Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss one of the very important topic of IGCSE papers. Generally this question is asked in paper number 3 that is extended, or paper number 6 alternative to practicals. Okay, and the topic is plotting of line graph. Now there are certain rules which we all have to follow while plotting the line graph. So we will discuss about those rules in this particular PowerPoint presentation, and then we will also solve one of the question from paper number 6 based on unit 5 enzyme. Okay, so here the condition which is given here is to study the effect of temperature on solubility of sodium chloride in water. Okay, so you have to study or you have to investigate the effect of temperature. Okay, effect of temperature on solubility of sodium chloride in water. Now you know that sodium chloride is nothing but the normal table salt which we eat in our home. Okay, the white color salt which we use in our home is sodium chloride. Okay, the chemical name of that salt is sodium chloride. Now this sodium chloride dissolves in water. Okay, we can easily dissolve sodium chloride in water. So as temperature changes, what would be the effect of this change in temperature on the solubility of sodium chloride in water? So this we are going to investigate in this particular experiment. Okay, I'm just taking it as an example. The first very important rule for plotting of line graph is whenever any question is given to you, you should be able to identify dependent and independent variable. Okay, so in every such type of question, okay, always there is one independent variable and one dependent variable. Okay, so you should be able to identify that. Okay, now independent variables are actually always stable and they remain unaffected by other variables you're trying to measure. Okay, so remember, independent variables are always stable, okay, and they remain unaffected by other variables we're trying to measure. Okay, whereas when we talk about dependent variables, so these dependent variables they depend on other factors to be measured and changes as independent variable changes. So whenever there is any change in independent variable, dependent variable will change. Okay, because this dependent variable is dependent on independent variables, okay, or other factors which we are measuring in the experiment. Okay, and remember that independent variable is a cause and its value is independent on other variables. Okay, so independent variable is a cause and its value is independent on other variables. Okay, and dependent variable is an effect and it's, or you can say it's a result and its value depends on changes in independent variable. And independent variables are always plotted on x-axis and dependent variables are always plotted on y-axis. Okay, so if you have a graph, remember that this is x-axis, the horizontal axis is x-axis and the vertical axis is y-axis. Okay, independent variables are always plotted on x-axis and dependent variables are always plotted on y-axis. Now in this particular example, that is to study the effect of temperature on solubility of sodium chloride in water. Okay, temperature is the independent variable. Okay, because any change in temperature is not dependent on the solubility of sodium chloride in water. Okay, but this solubility of sodium chloride in water, this can also be called like the rate of reaction or rate of solubility of sodium chloride in water. Okay, so this is actually dependent variable. Why? Because as temperature will change, the solubility of sodium chloride in water will also change. Okay, for example, at very low temperature, you have studied in lower classes that at very low temperature, for example, maybe at 0 degrees Celsius, what will happen? The solubility of sodium chloride will be almost nil. Now as temperature will increase, it will come to 20-25 degrees Celsius, sodium chloride will get dissolved in water immediately, okay, at faster rate. Okay, so change in temperature actually causes change in the solubility of sodium chloride in water. So change in solubility of sodium chloride in water becomes a dependent variable and the effect of temperature or temperature becomes independent variable. Now here the graph is given. This is x-axis. Okay, so on x-axis temperature is been labeled and y-axis here we have labeled solubility of sodium chloride in water, or you can just label rate of reaction. Okay, because rate of reaction is actually shown by, or is actually, proved by the solubility of sodium chloride in water. Now, I've already told you in previous video that whenever you label your x-axis and y-axis, you must mention unit of that particular quantity. Okay. So here it says solubility. Solubility is these many grams of NaCl in 100 gram of water. Okay. So these are the general rules as per your IGCSE marking scheme. A refers to axis. So 1 mark will be awarded. Generally this question is asked for 4 marks, plotting of graph. So 1 mark you will get when you will have correct orientation and labeling of the axis with units. Okay. Orientation, the meaning of word orientation is, for example, if you're making a graph like this, so this vertical axis is always y-axis and this horizontal axis is always x-axis. You should not flip these two axes. Okay. You should not label vertical as x and horizontal axis as y-axis. Okay. Apart from this orientation, you should also label these axes with units. Okay. As I've told you in the previous slide itself, that here x-axis has been labeled temperature and the unit is degree Celsius, and here y-axis has been labeled as solubility, or you can say rate of reaction, and the unit is these many grams of NaCl per 100 gram of water. Okay. Second mark you will be awarded for having a suitable scale. Now this point is very important, suitable scale. Okay, because choosing a suitable scale is very important, because if you don't choose a suitable scale, it would be difficult for you to plot the points on the grid of the graph. Okay, and the scale should be chosen in such a way that once you plot your graph, so your graph should cover at least half or more than half of the grid on the graph. Fine. So your graph should be covered at least half or more than half, okay, after plotting the points. So second mark you will get for choosing the correct scale. Then third marks is for P, that is plots. You have to plot all the points on the grid of the graph correctly. If you make mistake in one point, that is accepted in not in all marking schemes, but some of the marking schemes. Okay, but if you make mistakes in plotting of more than 1 points, then entire 1 mark will be deducted. So 1 mark is for plotting the correct point, and the last mark is L, that is neat line joining the plots. Okay, so whenever we draw line graph, okay, sometimes we get curve. Okay, sometimes we get straight line, and sometimes we get best fit line. Okay, this, what is this best fit line? I'll just tell you a little later. Okay, so A is for axis, which is orientation and labeling with units. S is suitable scale. Okay, plots should cover at least half or more than half of the grid on the graph. P is for plots, that is plotting of point. Plotting of point should be correct, then only you will be awarded with 1 mark. And last mark is for neat line joining the plots. Okay, but there are different criteria for joining the plot. Fine. This is actually, the rule of plotting the graph as per the IGCSE guidelines. So whenever in question it is asked to draw a line graph, okay, first is you should choose a scale which uses most of the grid provided on the exam paper. Okay, for example, if you have been given with such a big graph, okay, and such a big graph on the question paper, and you're using only this much space, so what will happen? You will lose 1 mark. Okay, you will lose 1 mark for not choosing or using the appropriate scale. So you should choose proper scale, okay, so that at least half or more than half of the grid on the graph is utilized. Then next is choose a simple scale. Simple scale in the sense 1 large square is equal to 1, 2, 5 or 10 units in the data. Okay, because in question you will see that many graphs would be given. I mean in question you will see that one graph is given, and you can see the graph that on this graph we have these, lines which actually make squares. Okay, so one large square like this, okay, should be equal to 1 to 5 or 10 units in the data. Okay, don't make it like 0.1 or 0.2, 0.3, something like that. Do not make it difficult to plot data by using a scale such as one large square is 3 or 6. Okay, why I'm saying this is because it is difficult to divide 3. For example, if you will take it as 3, okay, and this is your 6, then this is your 9, and they're asking you to plot 5. Okay, now between 3 and 6, okay, just take example of 7. They're asking you to plot 7. Now between 6 and 9, 8 also comes and 7 also comes. Okay, 7 and 8. So if it was 8, you could have taken the exact half as 7, but here it is 9. Okay, so this exact half cannot be 7. Okay, so remember to choose always a simple scale so that plotting of these points would become easy. Next is write the name of each axis and correct unit. Example, rate of water loss per gram per hour and temperature 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, this I've already explained in the previous slide, that orientation of axis, then labeling of axis with unit is very important. This carries 1 mark. Next is plot the points exactly using a sharp pencil. You should always use a sharp and pointed pencil. Okay, draw the points lightly so that you can rub them out if you need to. Make them more definite when you are sure they are right. Okay, so when you are sure that the points which you have plotted are right, so you can make it more definite. Then plot the points exactly using sharp pencil. Okay, it's done. Use a cross or dot circle for your plot points. Okay, so it actually it makes it more prominent on the graph. Okay, it makes your plot more prominent on the graph. Do not use single dot, as it may not be seen after you have drawn line on your points. Okay, so once you will draw line joining different points on the grid of the graph, you will not be able to make out your points. Okay, you make out your plots, hence you have to use either cross or this dot covered by circle. Okay, so if you have to plot 2 lines on the graph, use 2 different symbols to plot for the plot points. This is very important. For example, you have to plot 2 different data on the graph. So for one data you can use cross, and for another data you can use point covered with circle. Okay, do not use blue or black pen or different colors, as these do not show up on scanned scripts. Okay, so you have to label each line carefully or use a key, and then you can use cross or dot in a circle or plus sign. And remember, you cannot use any blue or black pen. You should always use pencil, sharp pencil, for plotting entire graph. Okay, if you will use pen or pencil or different color, your mark, you won't be awarded with any mark. Okay, your marks will get cancelled for using pen or any color. Okay, so you should only use pencil for drawing any kind of graph asked in the exam. Then read the question carefully before you put a line in the graph. Look carefully at the points. You have to decide whether to use a straight line of best fit, a smooth curve of best fit, or join the points by straight line. Always use a sharp pencil. So in line graph, actually there are always 3 types of line graph: straight line of best fit, a smooth curve of best fit, or join the points by straight lines. So this you can get by reading the question. After reading the question, you can get idea that whether you have to draw a straight line of best fit, a smooth curve of best fit, or join the points by straight line. You should always use sharp pencil. Last very important point is, remember that lines of best fit do not have to pass through all the points where the 2 axes meet the origin. Okay, if if you are sure that 0, 0 is a point, then you can include it. Okay. The meaning is whenever you're drawing the line of best fit between the points which you have plotted, so you should not pass this line of best fit. This is actually origin. What is this? This is origin. Okay. So the scale which you have taken on x-axis, for that scale, if this is 0, okay, and the scale which you have taken on y-axis, for that scale also, if this origin is 0, so you can actually pass the line of best fit through origin. Okay, but if the scale is different on x-axis, okay, obviously the scale would be different on x-axis, but if origin is 0 for x-axis, but for y it is not 0, for y it is some other number, for example maybe 5. Okay, so you can, at that particular time, you cannot pass this line of best fit from origin. Okay, because at that particular time that particular point is different for x-axis as well as y-axis. Okay, so if you're sure that 0, 0 is the point, then you can include it. For example, in an investigation of the effect of the concentration of enzyme on enzyme activity, 0, 0 means there is no enzyme present. If there is no enzyme present, there can be no activity. So 0, 0 could be included. Okay. And the last very important point about plotting of graph is, do not extend your line graph beyond the last plotted point. For example, if these are the plots, okay, these are the points, and you're making a smooth curve joining different plots. So remember, you should not cross your line beyond this particular point like I did. Okay, so once you will if you'll do that, you will not be awarded any mark for joining of the plot. Okay, for joining of the plot by using sharp and clear line. Okay, no marks will be awarded. Remember this. Why? Because this is called extrapolation. Okay, extrapolation means making extra line beyond the last plotted point. Okay, so that's not allowed. Extrapolation is not allowed in IGCSE papers. So these were the guidelines used as per IGCSE paper. And next I'll just show you two examples. What is the meaning of line of best fit? So whenever a scattered graph is given like this, okay, that means this is your x-axis, and this is a y-axis, and you have labeled and you have just plotted these points, okay, these points on the graph. So these are actually your scattered plots. Okay, you can see that the points are not in a particular manner. Okay, so they are actually scattered. So here you have to draw the line of best fit. The meaning of line of best fit is you have to draw a straight line, and that particular line should include maximum points in it. If you draw the line of best fit, this gray one, you can see it has included only one point in it. Okay, so remember, line of best fit should be drawn between these points, and it should include maximum points in it. Whenever scattered graph is given like this, so you should never join these plots point to point, okay, by using the ruler. Okay, this is not allowed. So you should never connect your scattered graph like this. Fine. Now let's discuss one of the question from IGCSE paper number 6, that is alternative to practicals. It will help you in better understanding of plotting of graph. Okay, so the question given here is, enzymes are used commercially to extract fruit juices. Okay, the use of enzymes increases the volume of juice produced. Fine. So commercially, enzymes are used to extract fruit juices, and when we use enzymes to extract fruit juices, the volume of juice produced is also increased. Okay, now an investigation was carried out to determine the volume of apple juice produced at different temperatures. Okay, so they were actually trying to extract juice from apple, and investigation was carried out to actually understand the effect of temperature on the extraction of juice, apple juice. Okay, that means how much amount of volume of apple juice was produced at different temperatures. Mixture of apple pulp and enzymes were left for 15 minutes at different temperatures. Okay, so what they did, they have taken the mixture of enzyme, apple pulp and enzyme, at different temperatures, and it was left as such for 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, the mixtures were filtered and the juice was collected. Figure 1.1 shows the volume of juice collected from each mixture. Okay, so this figure shows, figure 1.1 shows the volume of juice collected from each mixture. Now A1 question is given, record the volume of juice in each measuring cylinder in table 1.1. Now the question is for 3 marks. Okay, that means 1 carries half mark. Okay, so you have to read the volume of juice from these measuring cylinders and record your answer in the table given in 1.1. Okay, so the first one is at 10 degrees Celsius. If you see this measuring cylinder, the scale given here is 10 units. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so here it is, this line represents 2. Okay, 2 centimeter cube. Now remember, I've told you already in the previous video also that whenever we draw table, so always the unit of a quantity is written along with the heading in a particular cell. Okay, you should never write unit along with the body of the column. Okay, that's not allowed. So unit will always be written along with the heading in the particular cell. So as here unit is already written centimeter cube, so you just have to write down the number, that is the volume of juice collected. Okay, so in first case, that is 10 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is 2 centimeter cube. In second case, that is at 15 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is 11 centimeter cube. In third case, the volume of juice collected is 15 centimeter cube, that is at 20 degrees Celsius. At 25 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is 20 degrees Celsius. At 20 centimeter cube. Okay. At 30 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is, if you'll read this properly, 26 centimeter cube. And at 35 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is 27 centimeter cube. Fine. Now this entire data you have to actually plot on this particular graph. Fine. Now you're aware that this x-axis is independent variable and this y-axis is actually dependent variable. Now if you will see here, we are investigating the effect of temperature on volume of juice collected. Okay, effect of temperature on enzyme action in case of extraction of juice from the apple pulp. Fine. So temperature will come on x-axis. Okay, temperature will come on x-axis, and on y-axis we will write down volume of juice collected. Okay, or you can write down rate of reaction, because volume of juice actually represents rate of reaction. Okay, so here when you're writing temperature, so you must mention the unit, and if you're writing, you're using here volume of juice. Okay, so the volume of juice is centimeter cube. Okay, so what is the volume of juice? Unit is centimeter cube. Now this is orientation and labeling of the axis along with the unit. Once you will do this much, you will get 1 mark. Okay, next you have to use a suitable scale. Okay, so this is your origin. Take this origin as 0. Okay, now you have to use a suitable scale for temperature. Okay, so you can use it's given. You have to first check on the table. Okay, now the minimum temperature given here is 10 and the maximum temperature given here is 35. That means both these temperatures should be included in the scale. Okay, so if you take it as 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So graph ends here. Okay, that means the maximum temperature 35 was not included in this particular scale. So you should actually increase the scale. So take this as 10, okay, 20, 30 and 40. Okay, now the maximum temperature is 35. So 35 you can easily get here. This is 35 and the minimum temperature they've given is 10. Okay, apart from this, you can also note that when you're taking the temperature 35, so you're already covering more than half of the grid on the graph. So this goes as per the rules. And when we talk about the volume of the juice, the minimum is 2 and the maximum is 27. So you have to choose the appropriate scale here. You can again take it as, this could be taken as 5, 10, 15, 20, okay, then 25. Fine. Now when you will plot this, for example, you're plotting this graph, okay. Now whenever you plot this graph, see, at temperature 10 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected was 2 and at 15 it was 11. Okay, so 10 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected was 2. But this is 5, that is 0. This is 1. 2 boxes shows 2. Then another 2 boxes shows 3. Another 2 boxes shows 4. And next 2 boxes shows 5. Okay, so this is here. Okay, I'll little bit increase the size here. Remember, okay, these 2 small boxes shows 1 and then another 2 small boxes shows 2. Okay, so here the plot is this one, because the point has been plotted at 10 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected is 2 centimeter cube. At 20 degrees Celsius, the volume of juice collected was 11. Okay, so 11 would be 2 boxes again shows 11, then another 2 boxes shows 12, next 2 boxes shows 13, next 2 boxes shows 14, and then another 2 boxes goes to 15. Okay, so this 2 boxes here shows 11. Fine, so at 20 you can plot 11. Okay, so like this you have to plot your entire graph. Okay, and once you will completely plot your graph, you will get your graph like this. Okay, this is temperature, volume of juice produced, and then at different temperatures the plots are this one. Okay, these are the plots. You actually have to draw a circle after plotting your points. Okay, around these points you have to draw the circle also. Okay, so 1 mark for proper orientation and labeling of axis with the unit. 2nd mark for choosing the simple and proper scale. 3rd marks for plotting of the points, and last mark is for joining these plots. Okay, so you can join these plots in 2 ways as given in the. You can join these plots as given in the marking scheme. Neat line passing through all the points. The point-to-point ruled line. You can either use ruled line, that means you can use a scale point to point, or you can make smooth curve passing through all the points, and no extrapolation. Okay, no extra line should be drawn after the last plot. Okay, so you can make smooth curve by joining all the points given here in the graph. Now the next question after graph which was asked was describe the results. Now this question is asked for 2 marks. Okay, so you have to write down 2 valid points. I've already told you in previous video the difference between describe and explain. Okay, describe the graph means you have to put the data from the graph and you actually have to write down the pattern of this particular graph. That means what happens to the enzyme activity, or what happens to the volume of juice produced at so and so temperature. Okay, so if you look at the graph plotted here, as temperature increases, what happened? The volume of juice produced was also increased. Okay, this is one point. You can write down, for example, okay, you can write down this thing. Volume of juice produced was also increased as temperature increases. Okay, then another point you can write down that the maximum increase in the volume of juice produced was between temperature 10 and 15. Okay, so between temperature 10 and 15 the maximum volume of juice produced was 11 minus 2 would be 9 centimeter cube. Okay, there was increase in the volume of juice produced between 10 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Celsius by 9 centimeter cube. Okay, so this was the maximum increase, and the lowest increase or the least increase in the volume of juice produced was between temperature 30 and 35. Here it was only by 1 centimeter cube. Okay, so this is how you describe a particular graph. Okay, next question they have given is, last question they have given is very important. For 6 marks they have given, describe an investigation to show the effect of pH on the activity of the enzyme that is used to extract apple juice. Now in this question they have given the investigation of effect of temperature on enzyme activity. Okay, they have actually asked question, they have framed question on effect of temperature. They have investigated the effect of temperature on enzyme activity. Now in this question you actually have to describe, you actually have to plan another investigation to explain the effect of pH on enzyme activity. Okay, so similarly the same kind of experiment you have to design. So the very important points which you can include here is like, you know, for investigating the effect of pH on enzyme activity, you have to use, obviously because they have given apple juice, so you have to use apple pulp. Okay, then you have to keep temperature constant. Then there are other points like you know, because this is the effect of pH on activity, so you have to use the range of pH like pH 2, pH 4, pH 5 or pH 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Okay, you have to use different range of pH because the experiment is about investigating the effect of pH on enzyme activity. Okay, let's see, as per marking scheme, you'll get marks for writing these points. For example, if you're writing like, you know, range of different pH, then detail of method planned or control of pH or use of buffer. Actually, one test tube you should always, like, you know, keep as a control. You can use buffer. Buffer solutions are always like, you know, neutral. Okay, so buffer solutions are actually used in order to compare the results which you will get in other test tubes. Okay, then same type of pulp or apple or same volume or amount of apple should be used. Now for example, you have taken 6 test tubes having six different pH. So in every test tube you should actually add same amount of you know, apple juice, apple pulp, or same amount of apple or same volume of apple pulp should be used. Okay, and then same volume or mass of enzyme. You should not, it should not happen like, you know, in test tube 1 and 3 you have added more and in rest of the test tube you have added less volume of apple juice or less volume of enzyme. No, you should use same type of apple or same amount of apple or same amount of apple pulp. You should use same volume or mass of enzyme, then same concentration of enzyme. Okay, then same temperature. That means in this entire experiment temperature should be kept constant. And then same timings. That means this is very important, same timing. For example, in all the test tubes, there is test tube from pH 1 to pH 6. Okay, at the same time enzyme should be added in the test tube. Okay, or you can say just all the test tubes you have to keep along with the enzyme and apple pulp. You have to keep all these together for similar number of minutes. For example, if test tube 1 you are keeping for 15 minutes, then rest of the test tubes also you should keep for 15 minutes only. Okay, then after that you have to filter. Filtration is another very important step. Then you get apple juice. Then allow for repeated readings. Okay, now that means you can repeat your experiment in order to get the accurate unit. Fine. Then you can calculate mean, you can plot data in the form of graph, and then you can also use safety measures like goggles, lab coats, tongs, etc. Okay, so these points are actually very easy. It is very easy to describe any investigation. Just remember, you should be able to understand that whenever you're designing any experiment, okay, whenever you're describing any experiment, remember that you should be able to understand what would be your dependent variable and what would be your independent variable. and always in an experiment we have a control. Plus you should always repeat an experiment so that you can get the accurate data. Okay. So we have discussed this entire question from paper number 6. I hope you guys are clear with the plotting of line graph. In next video, we will start with unit number 6. Take care till then. Bye-bye.